Hello, boys and girls. My name is Mike Kelly, animatorsforum.com. So somebody just made a funny remark about waiting for me to always say that. Hello, boys and girls. That actually comes from David Letterman. We used to say, all right, kids, boys and girls, moms and dads, get your neighbors and family. Anyway, so the same person was talking about having a problem with this sari outfit. I once heard Dorothy Lamour call this a sarong, and then somebody corrected her, and then she said, I was sorry, I was sarong. But that's an old joke. Anyway, here it is in Daz. It's this sari outfit, and I think the sari part of it is called this cloak that kind of wraps around the person. I'm no expert on Middle East clothing, that's for sure. But anyway, that's how they identify it inside of Daz, is this piece here. And then there's a skirt, and then there's a top to it. So as a general rule, and I talk about this other places, but long clothing items like this, to get them to react properly with physics inside of iClone is a challenge. And sometimes it's a challenge you can't overcome. But I attempted to do so here. So here we are. And really, this is only about not even more than 5 minutes worth of work. So I suspect you could do this a lot better if you worked a little bit more at it. So first things first, we worked on the skirt first. So here's the skirt, and skirt's pretty straightforward. You can see there's the skirt portion of it. And if you go, we've shown this before, you select this, go into your physics, go to your weight maps, and then with the skirt selected, I'm not going to worry about the waistband. The waistband hopefully is going to be just right around there. But for the skirt itself, we go in and we click here, and this will launch your photo editor. And then from there, you will see your different. Chris, I've already done this, so it launches the. Here, let me do this. Let me close all these out first, because I've already done these, and it's. Let's try this all over again. No, we don't want to do that. And no, we don't want to do that. All right, let's try this one more time. We'll go back to here, and we will launch the photo editor. And what it does is it brings up well, I guess it does. It brings up, this is the weight map that I created for it. And basically, I just created a gradient that went over the skirt portion of this. So that's what we ended up with. And applied that. And the same thing for the sari portion of this. I went ahead and created and this one I went this direction. If you look at this, and when you see it when it comes up, if I didn't have already created this, you would actually see this. So this is a really good example of this. But the sari portion of it was this long thing at the top of this. If you can kind of see that there. And maybe you can see it better if I do this. This portion here. So see that long top portion there above? That's the sari portion of that. So I created a weight map on that. And that's basically all I did. And then inside of iClone, once you transfer that character over, you can make some adjustments. Remember, as always, I've talked about this in the past, it never hurts to repeat it, that what you want to do in your character is always load in your collision shapes. And I always load in what am I trying to say? I always load in the shapes for Natalie. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to load in shapes right now. I want to show you what we ended up with first. So you notice she's breaking through, but I want you to just see the way that the sari and the skirt move without the collision shapes. So right there, it's actually not bad. You can see that? It's not too bad. There's a little bit of a breakup there. And once again, we're not going to worry about the collision shapes because we haven't loaded them in yet. But the sari and the skirt work okay. They're not perfect, but they're not too bad. But now we're going to go ahead and load in the collision shapes. So we always do the collision shapes. You want to turn it off, or turn it on. I'm sorry, turn it on. And I always use Natalie's shapes, always the best. And I've talked about that. I've even linked to where you can find those shapes in one of my other tutorials. So with those shapes loaded in, then the materials then will bounce. And you're going to have to, even with the shapes loaded in, you're going to have to hide the skin beneath it to keep it from colliding. So, with 5 minutes worth of work, this isn't terrible. I would still say that what we're going to do is probably adjust some of the physics a little bit to collide a little better, but we're still going to hide the underlying mesh. So, it's okay. If you're looking for perfection, you're probably never going to get perfection with these long draping materials, but you can do pretty good. And you know what I mean by hiding. You're going to always have to hide the skin underneath because you'll always get some breakthrough. You can change that a little bit if you go into the actual particular item, like this skirt here, and we go into here, and we go down to the weight maps, and you can see the margins are very low right now. So we would want to bump those up for the margins. Maybe not too high, maybe a little bit. So if we bump those up, then it pushes against that. So you can see it's the legs are pushing the material more, but they're still breaking through a little bit. But again, we would want to hide the underlying skin that we don't normally see anyway. So, it's not bad. You might notice that this material is breaking into it, and you can also adjust that a little bit in the, do all this. If we click on the sari part of it and go up to here and go down again to collision shapes, we can do the soft versus rigid. We go up a little bit there, and maybe a little bit of self-collision, a little bit of that. Adjust that and see how that works. It's not terrible. But again, I've only done this for a few minutes, so you're going to get better results as you play with this. And of course, you're always going to get interpenetration on motions. So this part of it I don't like at all, and that may be a tough one to solve because those materials are sitting right next to each other. But in general, that's pretty good for 5 minutes worth. Hopefully this gives you at least some ideas on how to handle things like this. I don't want to belabor it. It's certainly doable. As a very general rule, though, you just don't want to deal with the long draping things. If you look in the iClone marketplace and in the even the Real Illusion store, you very seldom find any long draping things, and particularly things like this that lay on top of each other. As a matter of fact, if I had to, I think I would run collision on this in here. Yeah, see, I think I would run this. Let's see if we can do that a little bit here. One thing you remember is when you go back and forth like this, if you've been making changes here to this item here, once you've selected this, you want to go ahead and edit it in Character Creator, because that way it'll keep the physics that you've changed, so it'll bring it back into here. And we want to do that, always bring the physics back and forth. Otherwise, if you make a change in iClone, and then you change here and send this back to iClone, it won't keep the same physics. So we'll try that one more time and see if we can get a little bit better shape on here. So we go to here, we go to conform, and we'll see if we can increase maybe the size a little bit, maybe just a little bit, and then maybe up calculate collision a little bit. See if we can get that to work a little better. And hopefully by doing those two things, and then we go ahead and then we'll just send that character right back to iClone. And as long as you have that character selected in iClone, it automatically will just replace it here in iClone. So if you have any motions or anything like that, it'll automatically just transfer it back and forth. And we'll see if that helps at all. Yeah, I think that did help a little bit. So go back there and see if that maybe still might have, it's a little better. It's a little better. So you're going to want to play with that a little bit more. Maybe make that just a little bit bigger on there. But I think you can see that you can get some decent results. Again, the longer the draping items, the more things. Right now, I think I would play with some of the collision shapes on the arms, so it doesn't collide so much there. Might want to increase this a little bit as it moves, but honestly, if it were up to me, I would just stay away from items like this. Very complicated items when you have cloth items draping around each other, and particularly long cloth items draping around each other. So hopefully this was a little bit of help to somebody. If not, just ignore it. Don't watch my stuff if it doesn't pertain to you, and we'll see you around on the forums.